Thank you so much for coming. I think most of you know me. I'm Russell Thomas, the Director of Communications and Community Impact, and it's a pleasure to welcome a number of agency partners who have been with us for the morning, and a number of our media partners as well. I think all of the active local media are present. I'd like to introduce our president, Tony Mankowski, who will lead us in the press conference. Thanks, Russell.
Welcome, and thank you for coming. It's very important that we thank you from the perspective of that you share our story. And sharing our story gives us a lot of strength and tells the community about our successes and our challenges and where we're headed. And so from a board perspective, I just want you to know how much we value that and how much we recognize that that's a critical success factor for us as we go forward. So on that note, I'm going to ask Colin Hartigan to come up, who is the campaign chair, and kind of give us a heads up and explanation of what do we achieve in this year's campaign.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming today. I really appreciate it. We've had a great morning this morning with our agencies talking about campaign and the impacts of campaign this year in 2016. Obviously this year the campaign slogan was "This is Home." And I think more than anything and more than ever, "This is Home" means much more to us than ever before due to what happened this past year in the recent wildfire event. First off, thank you. Thank you, Fort McMurray. Thank you, Canada. I think it can't be said enough, the word thank you. From our team, the board of the United Way, our staff, it's gratitude is the first key to anything in life, I think, is having gratitude, and I can't express enough how much thanks I have on behalf of the United Way and the community as the chair this year for the donations that were made to help sustain our agencies long term in this community. And as we most of us know, the agencies are the fabric of our community and what makes us so strong. A couple key things this year for sure. We were extremely positive about what we wanted to raise for the campaign, and we stayed positive. As many of you know, our community was strained, and we were being pulled in many different directions throughout the campaign, and it's real simple that positivity was key. And things had changed. Before the wildfire, the economy was not great. We began in an economy where oil prices were low. Obviously, layoffs were happening in the community. People were already leaving the community for jobs elsewhere in Canada, as Fort McMurray wasn't the place that it used to be. Then in May, we had the wildfire. And I think with the wildfire in May, we weren't sure what direction we were going to head until we got home. When we got home in June, we for sure focused on what was the need. It wasn't so much about a goal anymore. It was about what is our real need. Assessing that early on in June was extremely difficult. Our workplace campaign chairs and the people that are the champions of this campaign, and I call them the unsung heroes, really believe that we were going to not set a goal this year and let's just raise as much as we can to help the community. We realized that that wasn't a realistic approach. We set our goal at $8 million, same as we did the previous year, because that need exists. The $8 million still exists, and that is a real need in the community. And it is measurable, because if you reach out to and talk to our agencies, they can tell you why, just as much as we can. We put the fun back in fundraising. The wildfire event created a situation where things weren't as much fun, and there was a lot of stress on the people in the community. And I can tell you this year, more than ever in campaign, with our workplace chairs, we had a lot of fun trying to raise those dollars for our agencies. And the goal became less as important as it was trying to fill the need. I talk about it over and over again. Our workplace chairs are the champions of our campaign. They are the pillars of the campaign, and without them, it doesn't happen. I have the ultimate pleasure of being the chair, and I get to lead that fantastic group, and I couldn't be more proud this year, more than ever before. We stressed participation. Participation, when the monies aren't there necessarily to support, maybe participation is another direct link to education, learning, understanding the need. I know throughout the year, we took an approach this year, a low-cost approach to use social media as one of our key, I call it the Trojan horse in our war against trying to meet our goal and meet that need. Social media was a key asset to us because we were able to communicate with over 1 million people, was approximately the numbers that we figured out, the stats that we reached, trying to teach them about who does the United Way fund. With the fire, some people asked us early on, where was the United Way in the fire? Where was the United Way? Well, we were there through our agencies. United Way funds agencies, not individuals. And the year before that, 100% of our agencies didn't receive 100% of our funding, but they were still there when the fire happened. And our agencies were there, and I think that the public, we spent the rest of the campaign making sure the public knew who the agencies were and what our direct connection was. So that way when they gave those dollars, they know that they're making a tremendous difference in the community. I think before Christmas, we left, and I like winning. A goal is sometimes something you want to attain, and meeting that need was something I really strive for this campaign, and it was $8 million. Just before Christmas when we left, it was 5.8, was the number that we were sitting at, was 5.8 million. For me, I was a little disheartened by that because I thought that we were still short by $2.2 million, and I didn't have any idea where that money was going to come from. And I was really, really concerned because, as in the previous year, 100% of our organizations didn't receive 100% of their funding. And that's a really disappointing thing. And John Evans, our community investment chair, had to deliver that news last year, and he did it one-on-one with every organization to make sure they knew why and why that need wasn't being filled. And that's a job I wouldn't want to give to anybody. And John, I appreciate your effort on that on behalf of the board, and great leadership. And to be honest with you, I couldn't imagine how tough that job would have been explaining to the agencies. Because in this time of economic change, we do have to look at doing things differently. Social media for us in the United Way was one way to be low cost, cost effective, and get our message out and educate the public. When we came back from Christmas, we came back into 2017. Officially the campaign had ended for a calendar year, but we were waiting for the final dollars to come in. Our workplace campaigns finalized. We had days of caring where people were able to help and volunteer in the public and participate. Our staff worked tremendously on the ground, and people from across Canada stepped up. But I think more important than ever, I think we had people still trying to donate money to Fort McMurray and the United Way and the cause of what had happened at post-wildfire. And through some education, we were able to explain to them that, yes, that money is great for fire, but some of those funds are really needed for the long-term sustainability of our community. As a result, we had an anonymous donor come in at the last minute and make a donation in the community, which brought us to our campaign total this year of $6.3 million. $6.3 million is the amount of money we raised this year, but I want to express how important it is to understand that in Fort McMurray we are still raising millions of dollars for our organizations. That is still short of our $8 million goal, what I call need. That need does exist. So this campaign rolls into next year, but people still make sure, we're going to work extra hard, more than ever, to make sure the people understand the agencies that we do fund, the difference that they make in the community, because we need those dollars. Although we put up a great fight, we did not meet our goal, but we came a long way in meeting that need post-fire. And I'm so proud of the staff of the United Way, our agencies who work so hard in the community, and the people out in the workplace campaigns that gave it everything they had to raise that $6.3 million. And I can tell you, I couldn't be more proud to stand here in front of you today and say we raised $6.3 million. That is absolutely phenomenal given the conditions that we worked in this year in Fort McMurray. And lastly, I'd like to let everybody know the campaign is in excellent standing for this upcoming year with our co-chair who's going to take the reins in Mr. Steve Yatero. And I can assure you, given Steve's experience, and the gentleman who stood beside me side by side throughout this campaign to learn as much as he possibly could to raise the dollars for next year, Steve is absolutely going to be an exciting guy to watch next year, and I'm so excited for him in next year's campaign. And I'd like to introduce Steve Yatero. That's okay? That's all right?
Well, thanks, Colin. Again, amazing job. I'm truly honored to be able to build on the success of Colin and all of those you mentioned that were part of the 2016 campaign. It truly was something that it was an unbelievable ride and experience that nobody will ever forget. And when you look at the results of the 2016 campaign that we just talked about, to raise $6.3 million in the face of an economic downturn and Canada's costliest natural disaster is a true testament to the generosity of this region. There's no place like it in Canada, and as I'm learning very quickly, quite possibly the world. So it's just amazing, Colin. The the inspiration that you brought to the campaign, the contributions by the United Way staff, the agencies, the workplace campaign. It truly brings the entire community together. The passion that's involved in that, we're going to carry that on in a big way. The challenges for the 2017 campaign are going to be different from prior campaigns. Let's face it, anybody that's been in the fundraising business knows every campaign's a different campaign. It brings its own unique challenges, hopefully none like we saw like last year. But we will always have the same ultimate goal, to support our agencies in meeting the greatest needs of our community. That's why we exist. That's why we're here, to support our community. Those who so desperately need and count on our support day in and day out. And the agencies that provide that support on literally, I say, a shoestring budget. And I can assure you that I'll do everything I can to provide the leadership to sustain all the work of the past. Colin, Marty, all those that have led campaigns in the past, and all the staff and all the workplace campaigns, truly something to continue to build on and feel very proud about. To that end, we've already started working on our 2017 campaign. As we just put the closing wraps on 2016, we have a lot of challenges in front, but we are going to be ready to hit the ground running. Very excited about that. You're going to be hearing more in the coming months about the thoughts and ideas that we have to re-inspire not only ourselves and how we deliver that campaign, but to bring that message out into our community and raise those dollars to meet those greatest needs. So with that, again, thank you. I look forward to what's going to be an exciting, successful 2017 campaign year. And I'll turn it over to Tony.
Thanks, Steve. So one of the things that's probably the most important item that a board has the responsibility to do is do succession planning for our executive directors. And so I wanted to introduce Cecilia Much, who frankly is a new join to us at the end of last year. But certainly from a board's perspective, we're very proud in our choice and very thankful that we've actually had her join us. And so I'll ask Cecilia to come up and talk about the Community Investment Program.
So, as Tony said, I'm very new to United Way as far as the organization itself is concerned. I've had some history in terms of being a campaign chair at our workplace and things like that. So, new to the sector, but not new to United Way totally. Wanted to talk today about why, well, first of all, to say thank you for the monies that were raised last year, which is phenomenal. I mean, it's unbelievable that we were able to raise those funds. Looking forward to working with Steve. We're all excited about all the new things we're going to do this year in the campaign to build on that success. But why do we do this? Why do we raise money? And we raise money to help our 30 agencies that we work with. And those agencies, they're in our community. They have absolutely awesome volunteers and staff. Their passion to help people in this community is unbelievable. I go out, I meet them every day, and I am just amazed by the passion they have and the service. They live in our community, they work in their community, and they are making our community a better place to live. And so that's why we do it. They're here every day. They're helping children, youth, adults, seniors. Everyone in this community is being helped by these agencies, and they do a phenomenal job. So that's why we do it, and that's why it's important for us. What are our next steps? Our next steps we have another group of volunteers, the Community Investment Committee. They have met with all our agencies, and they've listened to their wants, their needs, their desires, and they're going to make recommendations to our board. In a couple of weeks, the board's going to look at all the options we have to meet the needs and to study the gaps and see where they are. And then we'll come back to our agencies within mid-March and let them know exactly where we can help and how we're going to go forward. So looking forward to that, and really looking forward to putting Steve to work.
Thank you, Cecilia. So obviously the biggest event of 2016 was the fire, and that caused us as a United Way some additional responsibility to help support the recovery. And so I'll have John Evans, who's our co-chair for our Community Partnerships table, come up and give you an update on where we are on our fire recovery funding program in terms of the successes and the go forward.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you all very much for coming out this morning. My name is John Evans, and I'm also the chair of the Community Investment Committee, and extremely proud to be representing the United Way on that committee, and also as co-chair of the Community Partnerships table in our partnership with Red Cross. So with the Fire Recovery Fund, so far this year, and we're very pleased to see that our total amount pledged to date is just over $4.5 million. Started at around 3 middle of the fall and just kept on creeping up. Very pleased with that. So far we've invested, between investing, reviewing, and committed monies, we're over $1.5 million, which is just over a third of the way along of that. About 10 months after the event, so we're pretty happy with that. We would like to invest that money for the biggest impact as quickly as possible to help, and that's why we're continuing to communicate with our agencies and the community at large about letting us know if there's a fire-related impact you've had with your organization. Our commitment with the Canadian Red Cross continues. In our partnership with the Community Partnerships table, we first met with Red Cross 10 days after the fire on Friday, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 12th, I think. Met with the leaders of Red Cross, and they said they wanted to work with us to establish some ground level impact and best understand how to invest their funding that's been so generously donated by Canadians into Fort McMurray to make the biggest impact. We've been very pleased with that partnership and looking forward to a lot more time ahead to do that. So far we've funded over 25 agencies through the Fire Recovery Fund. We've invested things like caring for our seniors, providing outreach for our seniors, looking at kids very, very strongly, summer camps, programs related to children and some healing involved there, storage of donated goods, distribution of those goods, focused a lot on mental health supports, which is prevalent within our community right now. Our Tools for School program this year went to over 3,000 backpacks when normally it runs at about 500 or 600. So a big success from our point of view, very happy to help with that at a very, very critical time in back to school. We're also looking at and investing in mindfulness programs, again, more mental health support and outreach for at-risk youth within our community. We have many more programs and many more things that we are reviewing and investing in right now. There's currently only one application under review. So we are encouraging the community and our agencies, member agencies, to come and see us and to apply for fire-related funding if they've been impacted by the fires. Thanks very much.
Thanks, John. So, first of all, thank you for coming today. I mean, kind of a great announcement. $6.3 million in a very difficult environment is an amazing achievement, and I think Colin was demonstrated his great leadership in helping us move forward and accomplishing that task. There's still lots of challenges ahead, but that's the nature of the game. And comment on John's Fire Recovery Fund. You know, when we first started that fund, the question was how fast will those monies be spent? And the recognition, both with working with the Red Cross and ourselves, is this is not a sprint. We are working very quickly and hard to expend those dollars appropriately, but it takes time. It takes the time for the community to recover, and as it's recovering, those fund requirements become apparent. And so we're happy and pleased at the progress we've made, and we're looking forward to continue to spend and support organizations as we move forward.